10 years old in a junkyard town. Sunbeam Alpine, windows down. Men twice my size, I learned their names by broken bolts and open flames. Ice at night, steel by day. Weight was truth, it never lied. I didn't dream, I didn't wait. I lifted what was in my way. Hard iron, dust in time. Hands get strong when hunger's mine. You don't ask, you don't pretend. You carry weight until it bends. Hard iron, burned in skin. Boy grows old before he's been. Anything soft falls behind. Just hard iron and time. 15 years in a motel room. Dish pit heat, red sauce fumes. Chef saw something I couldn't name. Put a knife in my hand, taught me flame. Responsibility came fast. Men got quiet, watched me work. Pressure didn't break my back. It showed me who I was worth. Hard iron, earn respect. You're only good as what you fix. No applause, no safety net. Just what you handle, what you miss. Hard iron, steady grind. Identity got forged in line. Nothing pushed, nothing kind. Just hard iron in time.
And now,
Uniform tight, mind pulled thin. Learn control by boxing in it. Anger leash not thrown away. Put it to work, made it stay. Systems break, I see the seams. I build them straight, I make them run. Didn't notice what it cost. I only noticed what got done. Years stack up like loaded plates. Heart keeps pace, it never complains. You tell yourself you're built for this. That strength forgives, that grit persists. Then one day the body speaks. Not a warning, just release. Cold floor, white lights overhead. Doctors' words don't raise their voice. Heart don't care what you've survived. It doesn't grade your choices. I lay still, felt time slow. Every mile arrive at once. All that iron, all that will. Couldn't bargain, couldn't punch. Hard iron, still beating, but not the way it used to be. You don't out.
Sunlight spills through the cafe door. Mic goes live like it's done before. 9 years deep in these mountain towns, we brew the truth, not just sit around. I came for a visit and stayed for the view, but the soul of this place, it just pulls you through. Mornings in Finlandia, nights in Salento. Life don't move fast, but man, it's full tempo. This ain't a pitch, it's real as it gets. From lost bags to love and bureaucratic regrets. No script here, just the sound of real lives told live every week under Colombian skies. It's coffee time lived from the heart of Quindío, where the screen fades out and the real stories flow from expats who landed and locals who guide. We laugh, we...
Welcome back to the channel, GranColombia, and welcome to another Coffee Time Live here in Armenia, Colombia. I wanted to hear the rest of that tune, but it's 11 o'clock. You know, it's like it's not all about me. All right, so quickly, so I can get it off the screen. This will be the last day that this also streamed over on my personal YouTube channel. It's streaming now, but it won't stream after this. That's it. SaneinColombia will still stream over there, but Coffee Time, it's Rumble. All right, so we'll get off there. And no more YouTube. And here we've got the list of what I'm going to talk about today. I didn't have any takers on my do-it-yourself at-home Coffee Time mug kit. Maybe because I revealed the truth. Okay. Still no producer. So it says it's about 79 degrees. It feels about right. It's supposed to have a high of 83. And while it's not showing, it's going to be a low of about 62, 63 degrees, which takes place around 5, 6 in the morning. And the exchange rate, 37.13. It's just been back and forth within a few pesos all week. All right, so let's get that off the screen. And I only have one self-promotion thing. You know, because I'm excited about it. Where is it? I have it here somewhere. Maybe somewhere. Here we go. So I've talked about that software program, and it's rolling out finally this coming week. But my website work is really cool. And so I pinned it up at the top there, grancolombia.live, where I got all kinds of stuff. And I want to show you. I'm very proud of it. Hold on. little traditional Colombian music. Some free stuff.
Tenía tanto trabajo, no sabía qué hacer.
Hey, get to the good thing. That's what I worked on all week. Get to it. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Boom. Ahora en español. All week worked on taking the software and turning it fully bilingual. Very proud of that. Okay. Air slide. Hello. Due to daylight saving times, I can finally make a live session. Renee, hi from NATO HQ. Renee, thank you. I just got a message flash up on the screen. Thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. Mr. B. Nick, always here. Thank you. Tommy, how are you? Good morning. Dan, the expat, good morning from Grand Prairie, Texas. Yeah, when you coming back? The Galaxy Traveler. That rings a bell. Who is a Galaxy Traveler? Gera, Becky, good morning. How are you? How are you enjoying life here? It's been about a month now. And God morning to you too, Rafe. An interesting topic today. Yeah, this is one, I don't know if people don't know about it, don't believe it, or just don't want to touch it. There's actually a lot of YouTubers. This is what you would call a sensational topic. And people would think it's clickbait. It's not clickbait. It's a serious thing that's over the past year that's developed unintended consequences. And so we're going to talk about it today because it potentially could affect everybody. Tommy, watch the AI video after the live. You're correct. We're about to be leveling up AI. Yep. Once the data centers get going, it will be fast moving with what we see coming. Oh my God. When this summer, when XAI opens up that massive data center, it's twice as large as the largest one in existence right now. The winner is going to be whoever can generate more electricity, which is why Elon is trying to figure out how to surround the globe with data centers. Did I get everybody? Dan, Galaxy Traveler, Rafe, Libby. Good morning, Libby. I think I almost missed you. Good morning. And if you're looking up at the top where it says join, you're not joining coffee time. It's just a little feature that they have here that I play with. And I was looking around on Rumble and I found this very cool music, not music I would typically listen to, but while I was working this morning, I clicked on it just to kind of figure out, what's that? And I was really getting into it. It was pretty cool. It's kind of like, they call it cyberpunk. It's kind of a mix between metal and rap, and I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it was pretty cool. I was into it, and that's all that's about. Web. What was that? Designer. Yeah, web designer. I knew I figured it out last week. Good morning, Olga. How are you? Good morning. Thanks for the eatery suggestion in Clarka. Great food, ambience was beautiful. You went there. I love that place. I mean, I don't know why I feel that that's kind of a special place. I think it's awesome. You go in, there's a restaurant, but you go back behind the restaurant. Well, it's not really. There's a hallway there, so you go back there. And you're up on this elevated area, these elevated walkways, and they've got these little side jutties, and they've got tables. You sit down there, but you're looking down from the walkway, and it's all wood. and from the bottom coming up where the walk, there's trees. And so, you're sitting eye level to a tree that's coming up from the ground level. But at the ground level, there's tables and stuff down there too. It's just very cool. You walk to the back and it's got this kind of like, I don't know, a group enclave. Maybe you got 8, 10 friends. You want to go back and have coffee and just kind of stay away from the crowd and stuff. I guess eclectic would be a word. It's just a cool restaurant. And then on top of that, the food's killer. It's really good food. It's all traditional food, but it's really good. I say but because it's hard to find a restaurant that's really good at cooking traditional food. You wouldn't think so, but that's just the way it is. Rumblebot, thanks for the follow, Airsley. Yes, thank you. Thank you. William, good day, William. Welcome back. William is back in Colombia and brought me, my keyboard died out, and on his way back, he says, you need me to bring you back anything? And I needed a keyboard. I wore it out on the personal book I tell you about I've been writing. And everything else. I've just been burning up my keyboard, and it was a good one. It was an expensive. It was a Logitech, but it was the top of the line. I thought it would never die. I mean, I've had it for years, but it died. It died, and so I've got the baby version of it right here. So that's very cool, and thank you very much, William. Kind of a lifesaver because I was looking at them here, and with the markups and stuff that's on it, it just, I don't want to beat the drum. I'm just poor, and I was struggling with it. So, plus you get a keyboard here, and it's the Spanish version, which kind of sucks because a few of the keys move around, and so if your fingers carry the memory, you're hitting the wrong keys. Okay, so where was I? Back on the list. So I got a couple things before I get to the headlines. Of course, we'll do the headlines, and we're going to do the main topic. But there's a couple things. I always do the first thing about me and my life and what's going on here and whatever. The ego's got to breathe, But I found what's going on in the USA right now absolutely hilarious. And I saw a thing and it piqued my interest. And then I started digging and I looking at more and more. And it says I end up dying laughing, particularly with the courtroom video. Well, this was the end result right here.
Yeah, we did it, America. Yeah, we did it. Freedom of speech. Right on, right on. Yeah, God bless America. Yeah, power to the people. Yeah, 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 yeah.
He is boss level. The one that really cracked me up was there's courtroom scenes. And these cops who wrongfully arrested him, kicked his door down. If you don't know the story, go check it out. It's amazing. That's Afro Man, by the way. I never cleaned my room because I got high. That guy. So the courtroom scenes, the cops did him dirty. And he's been doing songs about it, naming names, a pedophile cop and the lesbian cop and all the things that they're hiding. He found out and he put it out in his songs. He put it out all over the internet, with the receipts. And there's this one cop, big fat guy, kind of bigger than me. And the Afro Man had closed circuit TVs around his house. And it filmed the cops stealing money from him. And this one guy, the big fat cop, he got stuck at his Afro Man's mother's lemon pound cake. And so he did a song called Lemon Pound Cake. And it's just hilarious. Well, they made the cops, the defense lawyer, when the cop would get up on the stand, he would introduce as evidence the song about that particular cop. And so you got the guy they're calling him all over social media, Lemon Pound Cake. They're calling the cop Lemon Pound Cake. And there's a song about the whole episode is just absolutely hilarious. The jury found him absolutely not guilty, but all the stuff was up on the internet. I mean, he proved this case before I ever even walked in there, but it was awesome. So there was that. And then the other thing, the older you get, the more this happens, and it begins to feel like a waterfall. It's very sad. It's very sad. I was living in Japan when Bruce Lee was doing his movies in the early 70s, and Chuck Norris was in one of them. And I remember going to a theater. It was a rare event, actually, because we were so busy. This was in Okinawa. And I go into a theater and seeing Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in this movie. And I didn't know much about either one of them. I mean, my life had been kind of isolated. I was in the Marine Corps for a while, and that's all we were focused on. There was a war at that time, and so I didn't know. So I get a break. I'm out in the world and going into a theater, and it was a very important moment in my life because it was a break from all the insanity that had been going on for a long period of time. And so from that moment on, I had a place in my heart for Bruce Lee, although not for long, and Chuck Norris, and that's the reason why I always followed with interest everything that Chuck Norris did, and I always found him entertaining. And it sucks, but we're all going to be there. We're all going to be there. And if it works out that way, I'll say hello for all of you. All right. So what do we got next? Is it? Hold on. Bear with me.
Here comes the latest from Quindío. With rhythm and flavor, up-to-date news. It's starting now.
Oh, I wish I had a way to have those buttons right at my fingertips. Okay, first headline. Let me get this stuff off the screen here. We don't need that up there anymore. All right. Colombia's budding tech scene needs a cash boost. This was in, what was it? I think it was the Wall Street Journal. In the technology department, it was talking about Colombia, and it was weird because they were focused entirely on Rappi, but all the stats and all the things that they expressed in the article were basically 82% of the businesses in Colombia currently are startups. I don't have that right. Let me see. I think I copied it. Here we go. The country is in second position among the best startup ecosystems in Latin America after Brazil. Almost 80% of the country's startups are early stage, she says, demonstrating a dynamism in the creation of new companies. It's pretty awesome, and it was kind of surprising because this economy was starting to roll, and it was gaining momentum. I know I was living here, and some of you also were, so you could vouch for it. It was, but then COVID hit, and like everywhere, put the brakes on, and it took a year or two, but then inflation hit us hard, and unemployment was a thing, and we saw that kind of moving back. Of course, this year, they did the minimum wage thing, and already unemployment is spiking. Here in Armenia, it's kind of reverse direction. So it's been what had been for 2 decades some very strong growth patterns that exponentially was starting to take off. Got killed with COVID, and then we got a socialist president who threw some things in that didn't help, and then he did the minimum wage thing, which actually it's regressed things. So I was surprised to see this, although apparently I should read things from the Chamber of Commerce. Through the chamber, they take foreign investment money and have it available. After I read that on here, I went to some of the I get WhatsApp messages from the Chamber of Commerce because I've got a legal licensed business here. And so I went back and read them. They're in Spanish, and so it's difficult, So I go back and I spend some time, and sure enough, there's programs there for free education programs. I got one coming up. Well, I actually mentioned this because they contacted me about AI. But they also have loans and grants, kind of like the SBA, only it's not really government. The Chamber of Commerce is sort of government, but not really. So anyway, it was an interesting article, and I'm confused as to the reality that we're seeing here versus what this article is saying. Now, I believe the article, but I think there's this. Colombia has a lot of energy and a lot of effort that they put into things, and I think despite what is going on, people are capitalizing on what's available, any resource that's available, and trying to do something about it. And while the government might stand in their way once in a while, maybe they're just going to push through. And it's a nice thought. Okay, what's next? Here, we're back in Armenia. Second chances to beautify. Inmates reclaim public spaces in Armenia. This is Parque Fundadores. Pretty cool, long sliver park right here in the north. And a bunch of jail cell baddies are out there, picking up the garbage. It's something that you don't see that often here. On the other hand, you don't see a lot of garbage in Armenia. Now, Kali, different story. It's a lot bigger city. People get more careless. There's less people connected. It's like you don't have necessarily 200 family members that are going to hear about it and ostracize you like they do in Armenia. And so you see a lot more garbage issues like in Kali, but here it's rarely an issue except in a few barrios where you just have a couple families that are pigs and they don't care. But, particularly here in the north, you don't really see it. But, still it's your tax dollars at work. And I put it up. I only put it up because I saw some social media posts about it, and people were so locally people are talking about it. All right, this one. Yes, Uber is not legal in most of Colombia. Yes, there's an exception for it's not technically legal, but there is an exception for it in Medellin. But it is not legal here in Armenia. And if the cop catches it, they will pull it over and pound the car. You won't get in trouble, but you'll have to get out and go find a taxi. So what's that have to do with this? Well, the taxis here are absolutely completely safe. Crimes don't commit around the taxis here like they do with Ubers. And you don't get ripped off in the taxi here in Armenia. And it's not all of Colombia, but here in Armenia, these taxis are above board. I've been here for years. I've yet to find one that was a scammer. And I'm sure there's one out there here or there, but they're going to suffer the consequences if they get caught. So there's been it's once or twice a year, but every March they call all the taxis in, a few at a time, and they inspect their taximeters and they check the accuracy and they seal them. So they put a seal over it that you can't replace. And so if they break into the meter to make it go faster or whatever, that seal's broken and it will evidence itself next time they go to get an inspection. So they have that. So I want people to know that this isn't new. This is what they do here. And, people are always, people are coming from the United States. In the United States, Uber's a thing and taxis are scams. And in other places like Medellin, taxis had a reputation of scamming you out of your money or overcharging you, not turning the meter on, things like that. And so that was training people to where if they come here to Armenia, I'm going to get an Uber. I get it. I understand that. But I'm always beating the drum against it because this isn't everywhere else. This isn't the United States. This isn't Medellin. And here, you want to take the taxis. I tried an Uber once. I would like to say it was more out of curiosity, but it was really because I was already stuck for 3 hours. There were no taxis running that day where I was, and somebody had a friend who did the so-called Uber thing. So finally, after 3 hours, I broke. Okay, let me give it a try. Let me see. And they charged about 30% more than what a taxi would charge. And I know because that particular route I've taken many, many times. It's always in a taxi. It's always the same money. And here's an Uber, so-called Uber. It's not even, it's the Uber app, but if you look carefully at it, it's actually a different name. It's like Uber something. I forget now. I talked about it in video a few years ago. It's a clone of the app. And anyway, just don't do it. Don't use an Uber here. They're not legal. You're only hurting the taxi drivers who pay for those inspections, who pays for the meters, who has to pay for the car. The taxi drivers, they're older gentlemen, occasionally a lady. They're not young because they had to work for a number of years to get themselves into a taxi. And you call an Uber, and what usually shows up is somebody's kid who borrowed dad's car and is making money on the side, not paying anything for the privilege of doing that, and not caring. And maybe his buddy said, "Hey, let's rip off a tourist or whatever," and there's no real tracking with it. So anyway, all right, I'm beating a dead horse. Let me. It really bothers me. What do we have here? Thanks for the follow. Yep. Yeah. Afro Man Goat. Yeah. That was an amazing thing. May we all live as long as Chuck did. Yep. Curious about how the August election will affect business. Well, we'll see, but that's not today's topic. But I will be talking about it very soon because the field is cleared out a lot. All right, so that's the taxis. Here, if you are flying into Colombia, there's controls being implemented. We're right in the middle of it. It says they're being reinforced, but it's not everywhere currently. I don't believe, but it will be any day. There's an issue with people from outside of Colombia coming from Africa and forget, well, they named a couple places, not South America, flying into Colombia, spreading measles. And we don't have measles issues here, and we don't want to have them. And so at the airports, they're going to be checking for that. If you're flying in, you might want to show your, get a copy of your, what is it, measles, rubella, something, whatever it is, whatever that shot was that we all got, you might want to have that. Is there anything else? Is that it? I think that's it. All right. So now.
Guess what's hot and happening now? Straight from the source, we show you how. Brew it more, let's break it down. The main topic starts right now. Ow, ow.
Okay. Well, before the main topic, there's Tommy. I've used both in Barranquilla and hired a driver, and it was all about the same money. The driver is much better for longer drives. Yeah, but the driver's not Uber. See, there's what everybody calls here's what the private transportation amounts to. You have your taxis, licensed, legal. Uber, illegal in most of Colombia for a whole bunch of good reasons to be illegal. Exceptions in Medellin. I heard possibly Bogota, I'm not sure. And then you have private drivers who somebody knows somebody and, hey, I'll take you to work if you give me X pesos a week or stuff like that. They're not working through an app. They might work through WhatsApp and try to build a circle. Then you have your motorcycle taxis. Those are just in the local barrio. They're the cheapest of all. They're pretty awesome if you want to ride bitch on the back of a little 250 motorcycle. And then you have guys that have a car that operate simply somebody who knows somebody, and they're not necessarily, hey, I need a ride to go to the supermarket. It's more like, I want to go from Armenia to Pereira to the Price Mart, and then I want to go over to the mall. I'm going to be about 4 hours. And how much do you want to kind of take me around, wait for me while I'm doing that? You know, we just call them drivers. And that's a whole different ballgame. And that's actually a very smart way to do something if you're here and you're trying to do things like that. Like, I want to go to Salento, and then I want to go to Finlandia afterwards, and then return to Armenia. It's 6 hours out of the day. There is that, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taxis and then Ubers that masquerade as taxis. That's really what I'm talking about. I have my guy for airport runs. I mean, it's a different thing. They are Ubers, believe it or not, and I proved it out in a video. I think had been 3 years ago. There's a certain level of crime that circles around this so-called Uber business, which is the primary reason they're not legal. I mean, it's like, I've had great luck. Yeah, great luck until you don't. But it's a known issue, so why would you do it? There's taxis everywhere. Why don't you just take a taxi? They're everywhere. There's apps for the taxi. There's no reason not to. Well, it was 500 pesos cheaper. All right. We're supposed to be doing a main topic. So this main topic, this applies not exclusively, but I would say in particular with guys. If you come here and you're a single guy and you meet somebody and you want to see them again and maybe date them on a regular basis or an irregular basis, today, that can land you in a world of hurt, including prison. So that's what we're going to talk about. This is something new. The law started in 24, but there's more than the law involved here. So anyway, if you've spent real time in Colombia, like Medellin, Cartagena, particularly the bigger cities, but anywhere, you know what an arrangement is. An older foreign man, a young Colombian woman, Money changes hands. Everyone pretends it's something else. Or maybe it is something else. Maybe it's a you help me, I'll help you, everybody's happy kind of thing. That culture's been here for a long, long time. And Colombia looked the other way for most of it. It's done now. So, first of all, how did it work? Well, men would come in, mostly American and European. And within a day or two, they had company, whether they were seeking it or not. Young women, sometimes 16 or 17, willing to spend time in exchange for money or a place to stay. The women weren't always honest about their age. I ran into that myself. The men weren't always asking. Families knew, neighbors knew, the police knew, but nobody cared much. Mutually beneficial was the phrase that made it comfortable. Understand, I'm not making a judgment either way. I honestly could care less either way. But this has some real effect now. So that phrase doesn't protect you anymore. So what changed? Well, the attitude shifted before the law did. Medellin got sick of the reputation. The city started pushing back hard, officially, publicly, and with U.S. cooperation. In April 2024, the mayor of Medellin started handing out flyers at the airport at the arrival hall. You might have seen these. The flyer says, "Don't even try, it's a crime." Up to 25 years in prison. That's what greets you. And if you don't have somebody handing them to you anymore, if you look around, you'll see them. Colombia and the US also activated a joint system called Angel Watch. It flags incoming travelers with sex crime convictions before they ever clear immigration. In 2024, it deported 42 people. 42. Foreigners arrested inside Colombia for exploiting minors. And we'll get to that too. That number jumped to 1,100% in 2024 compared to the year before. So let's talk about some different scenarios, because it's not all about, all right, the legal age of consent in Colombia is 14. And that's true. However, ignore that because it's not true. So we're not just talking about that. So scenarios. Let's do the first one here. She said she was 20. She looked 20. She comes to your apartment a few times. Your porteria, the portero, the guard notices she looks young. Maybe the guard doesn't really like you. Maybe he's annoyed by you. Maybe someone put him up to it. He makes a call. That call opens a file with immigration. No arrest needed. No conviction needed. A file triggers a visa review. Immigration has discretionary power. They can cancel your visa on the grounds that you represent a risk to the social order. A risk to the social order. 72 hours to leave the country. Scenario 2, the arrangement ends badly. She's upset. She's mad at you. She wasn't ready for that. She walks into the local fiscalia and files a complaint. She doesn't need any evidence. The complaint alone, just the filing, triggers an investigation. Your visa is frozen. Your name is flagged. And right now, Colombian authorities are actively looking to make examples. Scenario 3. She's 22. You've done nothing wrong by any measure, but a neighbor has opinions. Someone calls immigration. Colombia's visa framework includes vague language about morality and conduct contrary to Colombian social values. These are actual terms. The vague is intentional. It means it gets applied based on how somebody feels about you on any given day. Scenario 4. Extortion. Extortion in Colombia increased 21% nationally in 2024 as a result of these, and it's exponentially skyrocketing. In Bogota alone, it jumped 70%. This isn't just organized crime anymore. It's families, neighbors, anyone who sees leverage. They see the situation. They see the power that a simple complaint has. And now it leaves you susceptible. You were with this girl for a year and a half. It was awesome. You're getting along great. Everything's wonderful. You have a fight. She leaves. Her neighbors, you can get some serious money out of that SOB. All you got to do is file this complaint. Well, wait a minute. Why don't I tell him I'm going to file a complaint if he doesn't pay me some money? If your situation becomes known, and it usually does because everybody talks to everybody, someone around you understands the new legal landscape. You probably don't. What I'm telling you, what I'm saying here today, I don't think hardly anybody realizes. That gap in the opportunity is what they're looking for. One call, one statement. That's the game's over. So where does the law come into play? Because I just gave you a list of feelings that get acted upon. Well, as I mentioned, in Colombia, the age of consent is 14. Well, you heard it, right? But forget it. In practice, courts apply a power imbalance standard. A foreign national with money, whether you have money or not, it's assumed you have money, and a young Colombian woman. Now, what is young? Let's say you're 65 years old and you're dating a 40-year-old lady. She's young compared to you because these things are all about interpretation. But let's say this young Colombian woman is without money and a judge sees exploitation regardless of the age, regardless of the situation. The number is not the protection people think it is. In early 2025, Petro signed Law 2447. And you may have seen this and maybe just not noticed it, but there's signs all over the place. So niñas, no esposas. They're girls, they're not wives. 18 is the new floor now. Anyone under 18, all right, 14 is the age of legal consent, except the way everything is working now, anything under the age of 18 is actually not legal anymore. They haven't reconciled that. In other words, we didn't take that law off the books. It's still there. We're just ignoring it, and we're going by these other things. There also used to be exceptions, workarounds, like a parental approval. Now, the ICBF, that's basically it's family welfare. They got expanded authority in 2025 to intervene anytime they decide a minor's development is being compromised. They don't need a crime. They don't need a concern. I mean, potentially, you're here as a 30-year-old guy on a digital visa, and you met up with this girl who was 16 a couple years ago, and she's been with you ever since. No crime involved, mutual consent, but if it gets off to the public welfare people, they can charge you. All they need is what they consider a concern. Hotels now, by law, have to report any minor staying with a non-parent adult. Hospitals flag it, required by law to report. Neighbors are encouraged to report. Community watchdog groups called Vidurias, I think somebody can correct me on that, are organized and active. Community watchdog groups in a lot of cities around Colombia are looking actively for what they decide is an age gap. The whole architecture is built to catch exactly what we've been describing. The rules that applied 5 years ago are gone, completely gone. The informal agreements people relied on have been replaced by laws with real teeth and a culture that's actively watching. If you're in a situation right now that depends on old assumptions, you probably should be looking at it. So I found that topic rather distasteful and kind of paranoid. I hope you can see that you can be a church-going, honest man, never intending to do wrong, never went out of your way to catch somebody, made sure that if somebody of legal age, you just enjoy spending time with them. And you can lose your visa, you can do jail time. I did a search to see what YouTube content creators have been talking about this. I thought, well, maybe, what is it, Nomad? They're real good for information. I forget, Nomad something. They're out of Bogota. Very professional videos. I figured they would have something. Anyway, I did a search. It came up empty. Nobody has been talking about this, the nearest I can tell. I did a video a year or so ago about the change in the marriage laws that leaves the door wide open for you to really get raked over the coals over the new marriage laws. It's becoming a very tough life if you're a man, and this applies to Colombians too. You know, so if you used to see all over Armenia, you still do, but you would see businessmen from Armenia that would, or from Bogota, which means they had more than the average wealth. Let's say they were upper middle class. And I would see them, I showed it in a video a couple of times. I would show, you know, guys that were Colombian that were maybe 50 or 60 years old and have what appeared to be an 18-year-old, could have been a 24-year-old, I don't know, you know, on their arm. It's normal here. It's traditional. 20 years ago, that's all you would see. Now it's kind of a 50-50 thing. So it's not anything out of the ordinary. Nobody really thought much about it. I noticed it because I'm not from Colombia. That was a normal thing. Well, he's as susceptible to extortion and these kind of problems as, you know, you or I might be. And it's all pretty much one way. It's all against the men. All right, so let's take a look and see if there's any chats here. Oh, my throat. Here we go. My second or third time, 2010, 2011, visiting Colombia, I'd seen this very situation, maybe a 40, 50-year-old man with a 15, 18-year-old. I thought it was strange, but everyone was like it was normal. Well, it was normal. It was very common. It was perfectly legal. Up until a few years ago, you could be shacked up. You could be 60 years old, shacked up with a 15-year-old girl in your apartment, and it was legal. And then it got to the point, well, you would need parental consent. They have a thing. If you're from Europe or if you're from the United States, the law tends to be kind of black and white. And whenever there's something people aren't sure about that law, they either create a replacement law, or it'll go up the court system all the way to the Supreme Court potentially, where they will define the terms of what that is so that there's no confusion about it. It's not that way here. They make a law and they write it intentionally vague. It's very confusing. It's one of the reasons we struggle over visas and why this guy only needed such and such to do a visa, but this guy in the very same situation needed twice as much. It's yeah. Is this Colombia's Me Too movement? Not really. I mean, somewhat. See, the reason this all came to a head is you had a guy from the USA had a Colombian girlfriend. They went to Mexico and he murdered her. And if you were here a few years ago when that happened, it made all the news. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody became suspicious of foreigners. Females became suspicious. You know, it's like, well, I don't want to go out with you. You might kill me. And, maybe half in jest, maybe not joking at all. And then there were a few other incidences that came out. And, when they talked about that, it exposed some others. And then there was enough momentum to get into the law, to get into the system. Prior to that, there was a group. It was the Niñas No Esposas group. They had tried to change the law about underage girls, the age of consent deal. I think 8 times they had laws introduced, but it never went out. Well, after that particular incident where the foreigner killed the Colombian woman in Mexico, and it was like for 2 weeks, it was all you heard about. They reintroduced it and then it passed. So that was in 2024. And then, like I mentioned, then in 2025, there was a further, there was another law that just kind of tightened it down more. But extortion has just exploded. So here's the thing. If you're with somebody and they want to be with you and they've been with you for a period of time or whatever, and you trust each other, nothing is ever going to happen. But if that person turns out they got kind of an ugly streak, and all the ones that you think don't, just think of the type of divorces that you've seen you or your friends have. They can really take you to town, and the way everything is positioned, you have no recourse. You don't have well, let me present my side of it. No, because it doesn't require that. It only requires the complaint, and then the machine starts working. You're lucky if you get off with just being expelled from the country. I mean, that would be, probably the easiest that would occur. Okay. New marriage laws, no more assets in Colombia. Yeah. DC born Rob has the AI thumbnail of an American sent home because of the contents they found in his valise. Is that the guy that had all the whole bunch of sex toys and stuff? Yeah, didn't even have to have a female involved. It just, that's that moral turpitude thing. There's a couple of those phrases that I had mentioned. It's like, if you offend the morality of Colombia, what is that morality? Well, we don't need to define it. We just need to say it happened. You have now offended our morality. Ciao. All right. And if you ever want to return, big fines, thousands of dollars, or you just don't get to return. Yeah, it's what was the old TV show? Let's be careful out there. All right. Well, that's topic. What do you think? And this was This was Oh, I miss. Oh, that was. Oh, gotcha. That was Cartagena. Yeah, gotcha. All right. Anything else? What do you think? Now, I've always said, don't worry about that stuff. I don't care about that stuff, except now I do. Like, comment, and subscribe. They don't call it subscribe here. What do they call it? I don't know. Follow, I think. I don't know. Whatever it is, you got the little thumbs up. That's cool. Putting a comment definitely helps. But to actually join the channel, that's gold. And I now need it. I'm now looking for it. I had thousands of people on the Coffee Time Live channel, despite YouTube hammering me. But I'm starting over, basically. I'm starting over here. It's been a few months, but we're just now, everything's starting to roll. And, I've only got a few hundred people on this particular channel. The SaneinColombia is catching up fast. Growth is to be had here, but, I've never cared about those things, but now I do. So I would greatly appreciate it. Take a look at my website. Very proud of it. Oh, my last book, my fiction book, I got my hard copy in this week, Thursday, I think, Wednesday, I got it in. It was very exciting. I'm actually reading that one because it was such a good story. I can't believe how good a story it was. So I'm going back over it. The other ones, I can't go back and read them. I put so much time into them. I don't know. You just can't. Okay, I'm reading something that I spent 30 times on before. It's like I know it by heart. But this, kind of different. This was the way I used to write. Sit down and it kind of pours out of me. And I can't get to let me get to the next page. I can't get to it quick enough because it was all in me. And I just had to, I didn't go over it and go over it and go over it. I would do off a bunch of it and I would hand it off to the AI editor while I would continue working on it. And a lot of it I did with pen and paper. Did you know you can take your handwritten this and you can scan it or take a picture of it and AI can actually read it? I didn't realize I'd written out a whole bunch of it and I go, oh crap, now I got to go back and type this. This is never going to get done because I'm not going to do that. Let me see if AI can decipher. And my hen scratches like this is what I do. This is what is this? Oh, this is actually an outline on my life book. It's a like autobiography. So here's another page. This is how I do it. Yeah, it's like, and then I have stacks of them and I throw them away because they're so disorganized. But that's the thing. I can take them, I can feed them in. AI reads them all, puts them in order for me. It flags anything that it doesn't understand, like what the hell did you scribble there? If it's not sure, if you don't instruct it right, it will just rewrite it, but you don't want it to do that. And so you can have it if you're not 100% sure, flag it. So it all comes up, and then you just point out the ones, and it fixes them, and then you can print them off and end up with a hard copy, and then you can scribble on that, and that's the process. Somebody said, well, Aren't you just sitting down letting AI write? If you believe that, you step into Chat GPT, which is where most of this editing work, you step in there, and I challenge you to give it a task of writing a 20-page whatever topic. It'll start off not bad. It'll turn into gibberish because they're just not there yet. So you can't just sit down and say, write me a book. Here, do this, write me a book. It's still, writing a book is a massive amount of work, but it helps in particular with the editing, with the English grammar. But for me, the biggest thing was the organization. And that when I went to Claude, it was because of that. I just kept hitting a roadblock. And something else I want to tell you, share with you. It's free. All you have to do is write to me, and I'll send you off the paper, and you can feed that to Claude. Well, I use it in Claude Code, but you could use it in Claude Chat. But take it to Claude Code, Anthropic, and it will remember everything about you, everything about it, everything about any project you now and forever are working on. It will be at its fingertips. I created I got tired of every time you go in, you have to kind of, all right, let's say I work on something today in Claude Code, and then I go back 2 hours later. It doesn't remember. Even if it's the same one you were working on, it doesn't remember. It'll go back and review. It'll miss things. It's an issue. It has no continuity. It has no memory. There is a memory. There's a certain amount of continuity, but it sucks. So I figured out a way easy. And then I had Claude Code put it on English. And I have that available. If anybody wants it, all you do is feed that to your Claude Code. It won't hurt anything. And you will forever have continuity. Every time you go back, it will remember what you were working on, who you are, everything about you, everything about whatever it is you're working on. It's all there at its fingertips. The longer you go, the better it gets because it just builds up that information. It's pretty awesome. I highly recommend you do it. You use a hard drive. Oh, and the other thing is there are programs out there that will sell you that feature, but it's all on the internet. And so all that information is out there. What I created, it's all on your own personal hard drive. It's never on the internet. No one has access to it. But I highly recommend, I didn't even try it on anything other than an SSD drive. With an SSD drive, it becomes instantaneous. You don't notice, it doesn't halt or lag. I'm very proud of it. I signed up to 3 different AI sites in search to see if anybody's doing that. Everybody's complaining about it, but nobody's doing it. So anyway, free of charge, I will send it off to you. I had to tell Chat GPT 3 or 4 times that I don't drive for Uber anymore. Yeah, it's dumb as a box of rocks. It's not great. Lauren, what is the status of your visitor service since your recent health? Are you able to meet and greet for sit downs when we visit? Well, if you visit, we'll meet up and whatever. I'm stuck in my apartment. I'm hoping that very soon I'll be able to break out. There's something I just don't want to share. Some things I'm not comfortable with. But I've been stuck here for a while. Hopefully I can break out. You can always come visit me at my apartment. Some people have done that recently. But soon, hopefully I can go out and, meet up for a coffee or something. I am no longer, people say, well, can we pay you to take us around, show you the city and like this and this? And it's like, well, yeah, I can use the extra money. Go for it. I could use the extra money. I just can't do it, at least not reliably. On any given day, I'm not sure how I'm going to be. Plus, I go out and I'm having an issue, and that issue could, cause everything to. All right, you paid me, but after 20 minutes, I got to go back home. Sorry, so I just can't do it. But absolutely, you come here, you better come visit me. I miss you guys. Will it remember even with the new Claude revisions? Yes. And Claude is light years ahead of everybody else as far as that goes. They just all right. What's been there for a long time is if you're in projects, whether it's GPT, Claude, if you're in projects, it would share information within. If at first it didn't share within the chats in there, but we'd have files and things like that. And then it got to the point where every chat could be read. So if you're in projects, everything could be read. So everything within projects was accessible. But if you're outside of projects or in a different project, you couldn't do that. And you had a situation where if you weren't in projects and you just open a chat bot, little chat window to ask a question or whatever, that was just on its own. Well, Claude, not too long ago, created the ability to take that independent little chatbot and plug it in to carry it over and put it into a project. I found that immensely useful. And now they've actually released a memory continuity that's even broader than that. So that's awesome, but they're not there yet. Plus, I don't know if you're aware of this, Claude has probably the best memory. So as you work with the AI, the more you work with it, the more it knows about you, the more it stores in its internal memory. And they say you can't get to it, but you can. You just need to know how to ask for it, and it will show it to you. But it's limited in space. So what happens is, as time goes on, it takes older ones and just kind of archives them, we'll say, or really it deletes them, and it'll put new ones in. So it'll hit the wall. Chat GPT, it's probably the equivalent of about two pages of information if you were to single space 8x10 worth of information. So that's a fair amount, but it hits a wall. With Claude, it's currently about 3 pages. So it has more, but it hits a wall. With this, there is no wall. Technically, you could fill up the hard drive, except the way it stores the data, I don't know. It would be decades. It would be a long time. I don't know how long, but it would be a long time. I'm actually fixing the way I have it set up. I thought of this actually last night. I'm going to have it create an archive situation. So when I finish a project, then I can take that and archive it, not throw it away. So for example, this Creator Studio AI, this AI agent that I've created to sell, when I'm done with it, which is next week, I don't really need to have that active. And so I want to just kind of archive it away, but keep it, because who knows what I might need 6 months from now. So that's not in that thing that I'm telling you can have for free, but I'm going to make that revision. If you create a file structure for each instance to access, you can create a memory, MD, along with the skills, etc. Yeah, that's true. But, well, we're not, this is Coffee Time Live. And so I'm probably already talking more than people want to. But we could talk about that, particularly live on the SaneinColombia, because it's mostly AI stuff now. And there's reason, the format that I have, you might want to look at it, because I did different things. And I started with you because that's the easiest, most common sense. But there's a ton of limitations with that. And what I have is actually seamless. I don't have to do a thing. It just happens. It just happens. And what I found within a day or two of me instituting this, I'm involved in a couple very complicated, intensive programs. I've got one PY file that you certainly couldn't email. I mean, it's huge, and the issue is the code, Claude code, for example. It's so big it can't read the whole file, and Claude is the best one for that. And it actually has to break it down. If you know about these, you know what I'm talking about. It's a huge file, and with this system, it now has the entire file instantaneously at its fingertips. It's a massive difference, and some of the hallucinations that would occur, and Claude's good about not hallucinating, but some would occur during coding, and I would have to stop it and reset it. And go, if you know AI, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to do that anymore. Everything is there, 100% true and accurate. It's awesome. Anyway, what is that? Oh, contribution. Thank you very much, Mr. Airslide. I appreciate it. Wow, surprise! I had this thing, this big banner. I go, what the hell? What the hell happened there? I hardly ever get them on Rumble, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see, file structure. 3. I think we covered everything. Upload a screenshot, and it will read it in binary. Which one? Is it Gemini? I think, no. Yeah, I think it's Gemini. I don't know. Some of them can't read or can't see a picture. Like with GPT or Claude, I could take a picture from somewhere. Well, I'll give you an example. For my autobiography, I've got a picture of my mother. My mother is currently living in Texas. She's 102 years old. I don't know a lot about her. You might say we're estranged. I left home at 15 years old. But I'm trying to piece together. She was born in France, and I'm trying to figure things out for this autobiography. And I had a picture of her on my computer. Somebody sent it to me. And it was her in that kind of reddish brown and white old style photo of her in a leather outfit with a leather hat with goggles, leather pants, sitting on a Harley Davidson. And so I want to know about that. So I fed it into Chat GPT. I just copied it in. And it told me this was 1941 or 42, New York City, told me the barrio, told me what street it was, told me the financial level of her based on the clothing. It told me what crowds that she ran with, told the story about the motorcycle, how rare it was. However, most things aren't one-offs, and what somebody else did, somebody else copied. It had that entire story. It's like, holy moly. In seconds, it told me more than anybody in my life ever knew about that photograph. It's very cool. But then I think it's Gemini. It can't do it. There's ways around it, but I don't know. It's very useful. All right, we're over time. I want to thank you, and man, everybody would just hung in here today. I really appreciate it. Usually people fade out when I start rambling at the end, but everybody stuck. Also, I'll mention the stats that I need for the month. This month, absolutely no problem. The channel is growing, and I really appreciate it. I thank you very much. Share, that's the thing. Share, that's the key. Share these videos. All the like and the comment, the follow, all that stuff, that's secondary. Share is king. Share the video. It's king. Thank you. I'll see you in SaneinColombia or next week, Coffee Time Live, or maybe even both. So, where is my, oh God, my kingdom for a producer? I got to bounce around, find the button to push. Here we go. See you soon.
Oh,